Good evening, my name is Sydney Smola and I've been a photographer for 10 years. I specialize in landscape photography, fine art, storytelling, and product photography. The main topic that I would love to talk about and I'm extremely passionate about is creative storytelling and finding beauty in mundane places. In my 10 years of experience, I've done a wide variety of work. I've done some work with natural resources where I was a creative communications manager for 3 years, and I specialized in photographing, telling stories, and doing video for natural resources. I did this in the state of Nebraska where there really wasn't a whole lot when you first looked out the car window, but once you started to get into it, there is so much wildlife, so much beauty, and so much to be explored. I have done lots of different types of work, and I've also lived in some pretty interesting places. One of the locations that I lived was a small town off of Route 66 in New Mexico. I lived there for 3 years and pursued freelance work, conceptual photography, and documentary work. Living in this town off of Route 66, I really learned and started to understand the importance of storytelling, following light, and asking the question, what if? This really helped train my eye on looking beyond what we see initially and using that in my photography. The topic that I would love to talk about at Imaging USA 2026 is the importance of asking the question, what if? And using that to further our photography and take photos not only in beautiful places, but also mundane places as well. Mundane places can be anywhere that maybe you look at it first glance and you think, that's not photographable. There's always something and a story to be told, even in the most mundane places. And once you can learn this lesson, this is the gate to creating beautiful and authentic photography. Here are 3 actionable steps that I would like to talk about to further this idea. The first step is using storytelling and keywords as your guide. What does that mean? So the best example I can give is when I went into Goodwill off of Route 66 and I found a pair of denim boots. These were not my size at all. However, they had multiple patches of denim on them. The minute I looked at them, it's like I saw a whole photo shoot flash in my head. And that is when I came up with a denim-inspired industrial photo shoot. So I reached out to a model and we ended up finding a dress that had very similar denim patches. And then we found a hat that had very similar denim patches. And we created a whole look just based off of these boots. And then I took it a step further and found all of the locations in this dusty town off of Route 66 that were industrial and blue. So there was a blue shed at an airport, there were white buses, we went to the mailbox at the post office, as well as used a blue storage container behind a hotel. So this is a great example of how we can look at things that may be deemed as not photographable and use them to tell the story of a location and use keywords to even further that. The second thing that I would love to talk about to further this idea of photographing things in mundane places is using light and shadows to guide your shoot. This can work for portrait sessions. This can also work for fine art, documentary work, and video. When I first moved to New Mexico, I was so used to photographing in greens and in diffuse lighting and shadows and kind of scared to shoot in the sun. However, living in New Mexico, there is no shade. It is only sunshine and red rocks. This taught me to embrace the sun, embrace shooting in full sun during all times of the day, not only photographing in the evening, but also going out and shooting during noon. This is when the shadows are going to be the most vibrant and when you can really play around with learning how to photograph in the light and not be afraid of shadows. Using light and watching how the light interacts with your environment from the minute the sun rises to the minute the sun goes down will really help elevate your leadership in guiding clients with where to photograph and even with coming up with unique photography. And the third and final step is look at your environment as though you are a traveler. When you travel, you kind of look at things with fresh eyes and you see everything as new and exciting. However, when you live in a place or go to a place often, it is really hard to think about it in that way. So if we just simply start to look beyond what we see and question everything and ask the question, what if, and think of the world around us as though we are traveling through time, we will start to unlock a whole new way of seeing. And this will ultimately help us photograph better and create more authentic images. Just want to say thank you so much for considering my application, and I really look forward to seeing you next year at Imaging USA 2026. Thank you so much.